with Spotlight Publishing. This is Marion Solis and Renee Realta, and today we are celebrating an incredible book launch for Calm Parents, Confident Kids. Oh, we're having issues, so when she comes back in, we'll have Renee. We'll bring her into this room. I'm not sure what happened. So, how are you today, Marion?
I am doing fantastic, thank you. I'm really excited. This has been in the making for 4 years, so to actually have the paperback launching, it's just super exciting.
Uh, we are doing very well. You. This book is now a bestseller, and a lot of good stuff is happening. Hot new releases, and just really nice to see this moving along and coming here. So, what prompted you, Marion, to get involved in this great big project, and what to want to have to participate in writing the chapters that you wrote for the book?
Well, actually, I was the instigator of this whole project, and it was real funny. I know I came up with it. Good thing I didn't know what it takes, because then I probably wouldn't have done it. But it all happened like we all are from Dana Wild's sandbox, and Dana Wild talked about like how we all have things, wisdom, things to share, and none of us really realize how powerful we are, how much wisdom we have, and how valuable is what we have to share. And so one night I woke up, I thought, I wonder if we would just all contribute a chapter or two about parenting, because we've all been brain trainers for years. We could make a book of that, and we could give other people the advantage of what we've learned over the years. And I knew I was going to totally chicken out if I didn't tell everybody right away. So literally the next morning when I got up, I got onto a Dana Wild's group, and I posted and said, "Hey, who wants to do this with me?" And I had, a bunch of people who said, "Absolutely, I want to do this with you." And then almost immediately I knew I'm not going to be able to do this by myself. So I pulled Renee in right from the very beginning, and that's how it started. We just really wanted to share with other parents the power of training your brain, and I think we did that.
You have done, thank you for having that inspiration. And I know you've had a rough experience as far as bringing this book. You should not have that kind of experience. It should have been much smoother than this. But it's life, and you stuck with it, and here we are. So that's beautiful. So the train your brain. How did you get started with train your brain? Train your brain.
Well, I mean, I have used the power of brain training for, I don't know, last 30 years or so. I actually found out about it, about visualization. Originally, that's what it started out with when I was quite sick in my early 20s. But specifically about Dana Wild, I found out it's one of those God things, right? There was a movie that was advertised and said, if you buy this movie, you'll get this and this and this for free. And one of the programs was Dana Wild's. I had never heard of Dana Wild, but it was that nudge that said, you need to really find out about Dana Wild. So I did. And the only reason I bought that movie, I don't even think I watched that whole movie. I bought it because I wanted Dana's program. And that was, I don't even remember how many years ago that was, 6, 7, I don't know. But I just trusted that intuition that there was something important here for me. And as soon as I met Dana, I was like, oh my gosh, she's just right up my alley. I love her message. And I love that she's all about feeling good, training your brain and building your business by feeling good. And that's what training your brain is, parenting by feeling good.
Mm, and the only way to do it, because it
Yeah,
beats the alternative, doesn't it?
right, right.
Renee, so how did you get started in this journey?
I want to say that the way that I found Dana was when I started to look into attraction marketing, because I wanted to figure out a way how to attract my tribe or my people. I saw what was going on in the network marketing industry, and it was, it just didn't really resonate with me. And so when I found attraction marketing, somehow I found Dana, and it, just like Marion said, it was right up my alley. And it just felt right. It felt good. And then she was teaching this whole way of connecting with people and overcoming obstacles in a way that felt good to you. And, since we're each different, that's always going to look a little different. But the end game was do what feels good and let it flow. And it just, that ease and that, that really resonated with me.
And I think that for most of us, we know there's got to be something a little bit different out there, and we can't all fit into this status quo of, oh, this is, I have to do this kind of stuff. And I know that in the network marketing realm that can just, it's such a turnoff for so many of us, but you took it further and you found out what to do about it.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful. So your chapter, Renee, is Toddler into Turmoil, How to Turn Moments of Madness into Magic. Talk to us about why you wrote this chapter and what you've learned through this process in parenting. Uh-oh, did she freeze? We'll skip over to you, Marion, and then we'll come back to Renee.
All right.
All right. Everybody loves Julian, How to Make Self-Confidence an Unquestioned Fact of Your Child's Life. Wow, that's beautiful.
Yes. So that chapter came about because, I mean, I was lucky to learn a lot of the parenting attitude from parenting of being positive, the law of attraction, all that good stuff, way before Julian was ever born. He's 16 now. But I was at an internet marketing event, and I sat next to a young woman who gave me just a little story about what her family did about her nephew who had autism. And they said, Mommy loves you, Daddy loves you, because he didn't really understand. He was afraid of his environment. And my kiddo at the time was just so shy. I mean, for the longest time, he didn't want to go to anybody except Mommy and Daddy. And I figured if I can just help him feel safe and loved and just safe and loved practically at that age, that it will make a difference in his life. Because the truth is, up until about the age of 7, the brain takes in almost everything without questioning, because we don't have that, that awareness yet, that thinking part of us that says, no, that's not true. So we can really pretty much brainwash our children until they're about 7, and ideally in a good way. So that came about just that thought, what can I do with this message? Everybody loves Julian. And so, he didn't ever fall asleep easily. So I just went through all the people, like, Mommy loves Julian, Daddy loves Julian, Omi loves Julian, and Melissa loves Julian, and Titi loves Julian, Uncle Mark. I mean, I went through the whole, whole family, whole neighborhood. It was just fun, and then finally he fell asleep. So that's how this really came about, just knowing that our brains are so impressionable up until about the age of 7, that I wanted to take advantage of it, especially before night and when you first get up in the morning. That's when our brains are the most impressionable. So I just took advantage of it.
That's beautiful, because you can start a child that way, and how they grow up is totally different experience than somebody that did not take that time with their children and help them to realize how powerful their brains are, and to use words in the proper way, how we think about ourselves. And for you, Renee, Toddler in Turmoil, let's talk about your chapter and what made you, how do you turn moments of madness into magic?
I still remember that moment. It was walking into the dining room and just realizing I was kind of losing my ish, if you know what I mean. And it was like, okay, do I want to keep doing this? And the answer was definitely no. I remember when my parents, when I was growing up, they were both big advocates as well. I can't remember which interview it was earlier, but talking about how they empower us to come up with solutions as well, and empower the kids to come up with solutions. And so it was kind of remembering that and going, okay, I want to change this. I don't want to just talk at him all the time. How can I get him to open up as well? And it was stopping in that moment. And I think one of the biggest power points of brain training, especially with kids, is just becoming aware. Because half the time the problem is we're just not aware of the patterns that aren't serving us anymore. And so that was that moment. And it's a never-ending job, right? We always have to kind of refocus and become aware again if we fall into those moments.
It's becoming really aware of who we are, what our thoughts are, and how it is that we truly show up, and how we respond to our children, because they live by example.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
You two girls are involved in Positive Prime. let's kind of turn the conversation to what is positive crime, and then how does it relate to this work that you're doing in the world?
Yeah, so Positive Prime
Mhm.
is an absolutely amazing technology. It's built around positive psychology and neuroscience. It's like a vision board on steroids, and it's backed by science. So basically, what you do is it's like a little, we'll call it a movie, although it's way more than that, that you watch for 3 or more minutes. And if you just watch it for 3 minutes a day, it will reduce your cortisol level for the next 6 to 8 hours. So why that's important is it's 1,000 images, like really all positive, awesome, amazing images, and 200 statements, positive. We talked about mantras in an earlier interview, mantras, affirmations, and then you can upload your own pictures. And it literally retrains your brain on an other than conscious and on an unconscious level. You can change the speed of it. So if you don't believe it, like somebody talked about the VS filter earlier of the brain, I love that. I think that was Deborah. So when you change the speed and you real fast, you see all these affirmations go by so fast that your conscious brain can't read it, but your unconscious brain still takes it in and makes it true. And what I love about Positive Prime is that they have sessions for parenting specifically if you want to do that. And then there's the wealth of other sessions about pretty much anything you can think of in your life. But it's just a wonderful way. Like our kids love to watch stuff anyway, right? What could possibly be easier than watching something beautiful for 3 minutes that makes such a positive difference in your life? I mean,
Oh,
we just
yes.
spend Positive Prime.
Right. And actually for our kids, this is a really great to get them involved in, because they've got their devices, like, a lot of kids just live on their devices. Let's give them something good to
Exactly.
add into the mix.
Yes. Yes.
So with Positive Prime, how does one get involved in? I know there's a link here. Angela has becoming a diet renegade. Do you girls have your programs as well on Positive Prime?
I'm working on mine right now. Mine is going to be about the in and outer game of money, how to become financially fit. And it's all about both the practical strategies and tactics and the inner game, the beliefs that you need to have in order to be financially successful. It's a process of creating one of these sessions, and I am getting close. So I know Angela's a little ahead of me, but you have to pass the certification first, and then it takes a number of months to get it all done. But I highly, by the way, highly recommend Angela's session on the Diet Renegade, and several of other authors have sessions on Positive Prime as well. But I can certainly, if you would like to find out more about Positive Prime, you can email me at hello@marionsolis.com. That's MarionSolis.com. And I'll gladly give you a link to try it out for 30 days for free. It's dynamite. It really is.
Very cool. How about for you, Renee? Are you using Positive Prime too?
I have used it. I'm not currently, but I know the program, and it's wonderful. It, like she said, Marion said, it's being able to tap into that subconscious or unconscious mind that is typically so hard to access. And the more that we practice the mantras, and the visual really kind of is what I think pumps it up, right, to make it effective. So if I were to do a session, it would probably be around boundaries. I've learned a lot myself. So aside from parenting, boundaries around relationships and setting those healthy boundaries and being able to say no and kind of revamp your life in that way. Becoming aware around all that helped me long before I was a parent in recreating what I wanted to see, to talk back to focusing on what you want, not what you don't want. So if I were to do one, it would be around boundaries, probably.
Perfect. Yeah. There's so much to be said, and for a lot of us, we kind of blunder our way through life trying to figure it all out. But look at what the tool sets that we have available to us now. And even this book coming to the fore, when you look at all the chapters in the book, each one is so uniquely different from the other. And yet it makes a very well-rounded out book to be able to, for anybody, whether your kids are all raised and gone, and there's grandkids in the mix to somebody's just starting out and thinking about becoming a parent and wanting to raise their kids the right way. This is perfect. But it can be life transforming whether you have children or not. This is
Yes.
the time to start applying is as soon as you learn about it.
Yeah. We've always said educators, parents, anybody who works with children, daycare, caregivers, anybody who does, and just the whole train your brain philosophy in general can impact every area of your life.
Absolutely. Yes, every area. But so what do you see for you, Marion? What do you see this book doing in the way of impacting the world?
Well, my vision is that the book is in every car for the parents who are in the car line, that it sits around in coffee shops, it sits in pediatricians' offices, and that anybody can just pick it up. Like, how many hours do we spend on the car line or have when we were, our kids were younger? And we just sit there, just pick up the book, read a chapter, and you will be inspired. You absolutely will be. And honestly, if you read nothing but chapter one, which is what Debbie wrote, all about how brain training works, it'll be worth your time and money over and over and over again. But it's just so incredibly inspiring to read how the different parents have applied this. And I just see the power of everyone who's reading this book just influencing one other person just a little bit more. Like, what if we could, have one better conversation with our children? What if we could have one better interaction with our spouse? Or what if a teacher could make just a little bit of a difference, a little bit more of a difference with somebody just by the way they look at the student? It's just an amazing ripple effect. I mean, I think the sky's the limit. And it's such an easy read. It's not something you have to read from cover to cover. It's not something you have to read, you can just pick up, open the book, read a few pages, you'll be inspired and you'll learn something, and then just apply it and play with it. That's what Kristen said in the first interview, right?
Right.
She was just experimenting with brain training when her daughter was 7. That's all it is. Just play with it. You'll see the power. Like Dana always says, you see the power within 72 hours, and it's true. If you actually apply brain training and you give it a real go for 72 hours, you will absolutely see the results. You will.
Well, that's beautiful. I know your chapter was, one of your chapters was, I see Nissans everywhere.
Yeah.
The secret to noticing what you want may already be here.
Yes.
So talk about that, because I know the car analogy is something that I noticed right away. As soon as I thought about wanting a certain car, all of a sudden they're everywhere.
Right. And that is the reticular activating system, right? That's the part of our brain that's that little matchmaker that says, oh, this is important to you. I'll show you everywhere it is around you, because there's so much information that's bombarding our nervous system every second that it's impossible for us to take everything in. So based on what we feel and what we think about a lot, that's what our brain thinks, oh, that's important to you. I'll show you more of it. And the reticular activating system doesn't care if it's something that brings you joy or brings you misery. So in order to show that to my son, when he asked for, I don't see Nissans anymore, I just thought, let's give this a try. Let's do an experiment. And so we just looked for Nissans, and boom, we see them everywhere. Not the first day, but within a couple of days, we really saw them everywhere, because they were there the whole time, right? They were there the whole time, but we didn't.
Was it front of mind awareness? Yeah.
Exactly. And it's the same thing with, I don't have any friends. Well, but what if you focused on, I really enjoy being with my special friends. I really have a couple really good friends. And just start thinking about that, as a child, help your child just think about it that way. Or, seems like I'm getting better and better in school. It seems like I'm better and better at connecting with others, or whatever their language is, right? Depends on the age. But when we change our minds and focus on what we want, we see that it's already there. It was just hidden before because we weren't focusing on it. So just focus on what you want.
Beautiful.
I think it's that relaxed moment, like she said. If you try this and you put it to the test yourself, you're watching, you're like, okay, I'm going to try this. If it doesn't happen right away, don't lose hope, because there's a magic moment where you go from, I care about wanting to see this so much that I'm actually more focused on the lack of it. And the second that you don't realize it, you kind of stop thinking about it, in a pushy way, that's when you start seeing it.
Beautiful. Yep.
Yeah.
And that happens all the time. That is
Yeah.
just so amazing.
Yeah.
So, Renee, what is it that you do in the world today? How do you serve in this world?
And what? I'm sorry.
How do you serve in our world today? What do you do?
I have a few different ways. I have a day job, so I am customer service there. I also sell supplements that actually are nootropics. So they are for your brain. It's for brain health, which is cool because it ties all together with the whole brain training thing. But one of my passions is sharing the stories and the obstacles that I've overcome in life, hoping to inspire other people to be able to figure out how to overcome those obstacles for them. And it's just more recently that I really discovered that niche is in setting boundaries and learning, especially as a woman, how to set them without how to overcome people pleasing. That was something for me. How to
Probably for most of us.
yeah, people pleasing. And before I met my now husband, I went through 6 months of really just wanting to be on my own so I could understand me and become aware of me and what I wanted and what was important. And what I realized was I needed to focus on what I wanted, not what I was getting, because that's what I didn't want any more of, and all that tied together. So the niche that I'm kind of settling into is the boundaries thing and serving the world in that way. Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful, because I know, and you watch so many of the young people that have no idea, because nobody has that conversation with them, and how to set the boundaries and how to find that joy in life and how to really, really, truly understand themselves.
Yeah.
And how powerful they truly are.
Yeah. I would love to be, which I never would have thought, again, brain training, be a speaker, or anything that I can do around that to help inspire women to, and anybody who could benefit from that.
Very good. Awesome. And Marion, you work around the subject of money. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I love to work with moms, especially with moms who want to make a difference in their families' lives and in the communities and in the world. A lot of times we're held back by our finances. We really want to contribute. We just don't have enough money. But the truth is that most of our money habits, if not all, come from unconscious beliefs. And those are the beliefs we took in the early years of our lives. We go right back to what we said earlier, right? The first 7 years, we can program our kids' brain pretty much any way we want to. We got programmed because of our environment in a certain way. And most of our parents were working, working class, worked really, really hard for very little money. And so that is part of our belief system of money. And it's unconscious. And so a big part about making more money and keeping more money, it's not just about making more money, it's about keeping more money and making a bigger contribution, is to, first of all, become aware of these beliefs, and then release those that no longer serve you, and install the beliefs that really support you in that goal. And I love that. I found the financial fitness program a couple of years ago. The financial fitness programs, Chris Brady and Orrin Woodward, they have the practical aspects of how much money do you put aside for what? How much do you tithe? How much do you donate? What percentage do you always pay yourself first, 10%, always, always, always. Mm-hmm. So I combine these two, the inner game and the outer game of money. And I just love doing it that way because it looks at the wholeness of us, and it really makes the biggest difference. And then when you actually make more money, you're also able to keep it because you have raised your financial ceiling, and it feels so good to make a bigger contribution in the world.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Very beautiful. Well, both of you ladies wrote some beautiful chapters in the book, and you're doing so many things in a way, think about your children and the way you're raising them right now, and how much further ahead that they will be as they enter this world as adults, and that they serve as lead and lead in the way that they're going to lead. And it all starts with us as a parent. And
Yeah.
it's so vital, so very vital. For those that are listening, if you have not yet picked up a copy of the book, you can. The link is in the stream. It's http slash go colon slash getbook.at train your brain. You can go to Amazon and just type in Calm Parents, Confident Kids. You'll find it right there. It's available as a Kindle. It's available as a paperback. Pretty soon it will be also available as audio and as a hardcover book. And pick up this book if you think of somebody, some young parent that is just really, really struggling with their children. Maybe there's a lot of screaming, a lot of stuff going on. This would be a beautiful book to share. Just have the conversation, because that's where it gets started. And I'm sure there's nothing like being a calm parent and having happy kids. There's just nothing like it. And so as you go into this world and pick up a copy of this book, mine is on the way. It said it would be delivered today. It's not here yet. Just really take it, share it, use it as kind of that guide and that stepping stone, and check out all the other things. Positive Prime, Dana Wild's program. There's so many things. There's so many things right for us at our fingertips right now.
Yeah,
Thank
Becky,
you.
to lend to what you just said, we have a unique situation in that we have an 8-year-old and now an almost 18-year-old. And so when this book kind of started, the older one was, 5 years younger, I guess 13, 12. And he has come around at this point in some of the conversations that we have, to those of you watching, like, just wait, your kids will come back and they'll be like, Mom, so I keep saying this to myself, and I know that, like, it's so cool to see them take on what we model. And
it's very rewarding, but it also sets them ahead of the game so much. The things that we have to really realize and face as we raise good kids, and it starts with us.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you certainly don't look like you should have an 18-year-old. Awesome. All right. Well, we'll conclude this interview. Thank you both ladies so much for joining the conversation, for the work that you do in the world, and for leading by example.
Thank you for having us.
This is awesome. All right.
Bye, guys.